What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Welcome back to my channel, and today we just have to talk about the situation with Champions Path right now. So most of you watching this can probably relate very well about what I'm going to talk to you about, and there's going to be a small percentage of you where this will be targeted against you, but all I ask is for you guys to watch through the whole video. I'm going to do two sections. One, kind of about my thoughts and feelings towards this whole reselling of Champions Path and stuff. And then the second part is going to be more about supply and demand, the theoretical, analytical side. I am an MBA student. I do a lot of economics and finance every single week in my classes. So I think and I hope I can kind of use that to help everybody understand what's going on with Champions Path right now. So if you've been hiding underneath a rock, you might be asking, what is happening? What's going on? And basically the short story is none of us, the majority of the Pokemon community, can get our hands on any Champions Path product. If you go onto any of the Facebook marketplace, kind of like groups where people buy and sell and trade, and that stuff is absolutely packed full of people trying to sell or resell Champions Path. Now, normally I don't really get too annoyed at people who try resell stuff. So for example, Hidden Fates is a very good example. Walmart always has Hidden Fates and people buy them for like $25 and sell them for $40 or $50. But Hidden Fates is an old set. People have had their chance at buying Hidden Fates for such a long time that I kind of really don't care about Hidden Fates anymore. I know like a pack is around $10, but I don't know what the price of a tin is anymore. I don't know the price of an ETB. The problem lies that Champions Road launched on Friday, and I went on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and every single time the shelves at Walmarts and Targets were sold out. I think I went to 7 or 8 stores, and they were completely gone. Now there was one Target that I did go to. All the ETBs, I think the shelf held around 6 ETBs from what I could see. All of them are gone, but the pin collection and the double V boxes were untouched, which kind of like screams to me that people, or one person more likely, just went and took all the ETBs to resell. In my opinion, you don't really need any more than 2 ETBs, one to keep sealed, one to open. The only good thing about an ETB is that it has that promo, the Charizard V promo, and it's a really nice promo. But other than that, and like the sleeves, there's really not that much to it. But the pin collections and stuff, they were untouched, and that was like a huge red flag and a weird sign to me. So how much are people reselling this stuff for on Facebook and eBay too? And it ranges from anywhere between $80 to $220. $220 is, I think, the highest I've seen so far. And apparently the guy sold it. That's what he said in the comments. You're looking at like a 300% up mark the day of launch. And that is just completely crazy to me. My biggest issue with it is basically you're banishing children and fans alike from getting their hands on any product because you want to make a quick buck. Now, before any of you come at me in the comments and say, oh, coronavirus, oh, the economy, oh, it's so bad, like I need to make money. That is simply untrue. If you can afford to buy $500 worth of ETBs, you do not have a problem with money. It's as simple as that. You do not take a risk to buy Pokemon products, of all things, Pokemon products, to resell. To me, it's ethically wrong. To me, it's morally wrong. And I think it's just so unfair on families and kids who, you know, have their once a week shop where they're allowed to buy one Pokemon product, and they've been telling their parents the whole week, hey, Champions Pass coming out, can I get a pin collection, or can I get an ETB or something like that? And they go there and it's completely empty because one guy has come along, put all the stuff in his shopping cart and gone to the checkout, and before he's even out the store, he's taking a picture to put on Facebook and saying, hey guys, I'm selling this for $120, $150. To me, it's totally unethical, completely morally wrong. And the people who do it, I mean, there's a certain type of person who does it. Like, you know who they are. So what's the long-term impact? Well, you're pricing people out of Pokemon now. People who are unable to afford this because you're stealing all their product will probably say, well, fuck this. I'm not going to bother buying any more Pokemon stuff. I'm out. I'm done. If this is the way it's going to be, then it's over. I mean, this is not just a Pokemon problem. I collect some sports cards, NBA, NFL, that kind of stuff, and I'm in some groups, and people are selling Pokemon stuff on the sports groups, and it's purely Champions Path. That's how ridiculous and out of hand it's become, is people from other hobbies and other TCGs and other collectibles are coming into Pokemon to make quick money. So another thing some of you might be asking is, well, why didn't you go pre-order it? Why didn't you do it on Game Nerds? Why didn't you go and pre-order it at your local store? That's true. I did pre-order mine. I am getting mine in, but not everyone pre-orders. And also, I really don't have a problem with people pre-ordering, 6 or 7 or whatever, to open themselves on the release day or to keep for an investment or whatever. But there's a huge difference from pre-ordering on a website such as Game Nerds, who has the ability to have thousands and thousands of ETBs coming into them, and going to your local store, your local Walmart, your local Target, your local collectible store, and buying everything off that shelf because it won't be restocked that day. So I think there's a huge difference between, people who pre-order a lot and the people who go to Targets and Walmarts, scoop everything off the shelves, put them in their basket, and then go home and resell them. So who's at fault? Is it the people that don't put in pre-orders so they don't get their stuff? Is it the Pokemon company? And let's start with the Pokemon company. Is it the Pokemon's company's fault? I do not think so at all. This is a special set. It has, I think it's like 78 cards in it, right? So it should not take you that long to open and find all the cards. If you're someone who collects all the cards, wants to do the master set, it is not nearly as difficult as Darkness Ablaze. Darkness Ablaze has 280 cards, something like that, 200 and something cards. That takes a lot more product. You're going to have to put out a ton more product for people to complete sets and stuff. This is not a Sword and Shield set. This is a special set. The Pokemon Company does not have to print as much as Darkness Ablaze. Look at Hidden Fates, for example. I know Hidden Fates are still printing. It's still popular, but it's a massive set. People need to get lots and lots and lots of it to complete the shiny set, for example. So no, I do not believe it's the Pokemon Company's fault at all. Is it the supplier and distributor's fault? I'm going to put a bit of blame on them because they were the ones who started canceling orders. I always have this iffy feeling when I put something in for a pre-order that it's going to be canceled. Because the thing is, companies ask you to pre-order stuff when they don't even have an idea of how much product they're going to get in. This causes a panic. This says to people, if Target and Walmart aren't going to get enough, then I'm not going to get enough, and this causes like a huge panic at the very start and release of a set. One of the people I do blame for most of this, reselling crap is Target and Walmart themselves. When we went into the pandemic, what happened? Everyone, for some reason, started buying toilet paper and sanitary products, wipes and all that kind of stuff. And what happened? They immediately decided to put signs up saying, one toilet roll, stack per person, one sanitary product per person. You cannot come in and take, as much as you wanted. And they're way too late to the game to do this. They need to, when something comes out, they need to limit what one person can buy. I think it's so wrong that one person could go in and just take absolutely everything. Just like those assholes who were doing it at the beginning of the pandemic, where they were hoarding all the toilet paper, and they probably have a basement full of toilet paper right now. It's the same kind of people. They panic and they buy everything and don't give a shit about, the person behind them or the person next to them. There's no sense of community. And I also think, there's been a lot of talk around Pokemon right now. The first edition base set booster box just sold for 198,000, and people's ears just like perk up and think, oh, money, and they start buying and selling Pokemon stuff, even though they don't really give a shit about the TCG. They don't know the Pokemon. They just look at the price point. They just look at the price points, and that's all they really care about. So that's enough of my rant now. Let's go into something that's a bit more analytical, a bit more thoughtful than me starting to swear at the camera. Okay, so let's begin. So let's just talk about supply and demand, because that's the biggest factor here with this whole problem. So what is supply and demand? And it's a very simple concept and very simple theory that explains like how sellers of a specific item or a resource or something, well, in this case, an ETB, that interact with those which buy it. So first of all, what we're going to look at is the demand side. So very simply put, We're going to do graphs here. Sorry if you don't like maths and you don't like my drawing or whatever, but I'll do my very best. So on this side here, we're going to be having price, and this is going up. And then across here, we're going to have demand, okay? Now, this is in a perfect world, obviously. Very few things actually have an equilibrium, but just for theory right now, we're just going to go over this so everybody is on the same page with this. So if we have something that is not in that much demand, it usually has a high price. So let's think of, in Pokemon terms, a vintage booster box. If this up here is $8,000, how many of you watching can actually afford that? Probably none of you, very few of you, if that. I know for sure I cannot afford that. So the demand is very low because nobody can buy it. It's a very, very difficult product to get. Very few people can afford it. But if we go down here to something that's like $4, let's think of those things like, remember those Darkness Ablaze Sword and Shield 2-pack blisters, which came with, so it came with 2 packs and it was only $4, which is usually the price of 1 pack. Those were in such high demand that it's very, very difficult to get them, but everyone can afford them. Basically, buy one, get one free. So what happens is you have this line down here, and this is called the demand curve. So I'll label it. This is the demand curve. Okay, so now we can put things in between. So maybe here you can put something like a Darkness Ablaze booster box. Not as many people can afford it as the people down here, but more people can afford it compared to the $8,000 vintage, Team Rocket booster box or the Jungle booster box. So this is more towards the consumer. So me, you, all your friends, we are consumers of Pokemon products, and this is targeted towards us. Now, the supply column, hopefully this is still in shot, yes. The supply column, same thing. Instead of demand, we now put supply down here. Supply going this direction. Price is exactly the same, going upwards. Now, instead of looking from the consumer's perspective, supply is looked at from the producer's perspective. So, the Pokemon company as a good example there. So if a company knows it has a supply of something that is selling super, super well, they can increase the supply. So the supply is incredibly high, all the way up here, and the price is pretty high. Think of Apple, okay? Apple is a great example of this. They never seem to run out of iPhones. Every time you go there, they have a huge supply of iPhones, MacBooks, AirPods. They have a huge supply of it, but the price is pretty high. As we decrease in price, as we decrease in price, we also decrease in supply. Now, the problem with this and the problem with relating this to Pokemon is this question: how many ETBs were produced? Right? We have no idea. Pokemon Company does not give us numbers. They do give numbers to distributors, but they only give them numbers on how many they can give them, not how many are actually produced. We don't know how many vintage booster boxes were produced. We don't know how many Darkness Ablaze booster boxes were produced, and we certainly don't know how many Champions Path ETBs are produced. Now, let's go and make this specifically, a graph specifically for Champions Path. Now, in an ideal world, this is what would occur, okay? So we would have the same graph, but this time we have both supply and demand on this curve right here, on the x-axis. Then we have price here, obviously going up, supply and demand going this way. We have the demand line going like this, and we have the supply line going like that, and you see it crosses at this middle point here. This is what we call the equilibrium. Now, this is the ideal point of which everything is sold at. So it would have this amount of supply and this amount of demand, whatever percentage or number you want to put, and then this amount of price, whatever it sells for. So that is what we call the equilibrium. That's what we're looking for. Everything interacts and becomes like a cross section at some point, whether supply is really high or demand's really high. They always cross at some point, and that is the point where you're looking for, okay? But that is not what is happening with these ETBs. This is what's happening. And I need a fresh page for this because the graph is going to get much bigger. So we're actually going to put it this way so I can actually draw a bit more. Okay, so this is actually what's happening here. Okay, so we're going to make a much larger graph. Okay, so this time we're going to use a bit of algebra, S and D. Okay, supply and demand, P for price. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our equilibrium that we just had. Okay, so we have our equilibrium here, and we draw it down here, and price across here. Sorry, it's not drawn very well. So we're just going to put a mini S here and a mini D here. Now, what is happening with Champions Path is this. We're not having this nice slope of supply and this nice little curve of demand. Instead, what's happening is this. People are finding them at Target and Walmart, and they're taking them all. So what happens to supply? Supply is not all the way down here, right? Supply is not this graph here. It is this. Maximum supply is probably around here out of 100, okay? That is where the maximum supply is. But where's demand? Demand is also freaking high because all of us can't get it, but we all want it. There are 2, 3 Charizards that you can possibly get. 1 promo, 2 that you can find, the VMAX and the Shiny. So demand is freaking high too. So it's all the way across here. The equilibrium, which was at the selling point of Target and Walmart, so where you should be buying it, is around 50 bucks right here. But instead, the equilibrium, or the point of where you sell and buy it, is all the way up here. So we put the graph all the way here. So supply is gone because people are taking it. And demand is also really high, but the price has gone up to $150 because you're taking all the stuff. That is what's happening. It's not the marketplace. It's not the marketplace because the market value should be $50. That's what it should be. It should be. That's the MSRP. That is what the retail price is. That's what you pre-order it at. It doesn't just jump up 2-3 times the price. And this is conservative, this price here, $150. It could go up to $250. Easily. In the next couple of days, it'll probably be up at $250 because every time someone goes and restocks Walmart, Target, someone's waiting there. And they go and take all the ETBs. So this number easily could happen. So now what you're seeing is this massive gap between supplies. So this is now S1 and this is now D2. Okay, so look at the gap between the supply. There's hardly any supply for 3 or 4 days since Champions Path is gone. This is what's happened to supply. Demand is even higher and the price is even higher. It's all the way up here now when it should be here. I mean, I have not really that much problem with, small local game stores when they put their price at, $65 or even $70. Local game stores have it a lot harder than, the multinational companies such as Walmart and Target, So I understand that. I understand that why people are selling that on the secondary market for this. But up here is asinine. That is what I like to call assholery. This is ridiculous, this price here, and it should not be happening. It shouldn't be happening. Because, the Charizard is worth this. The promo Charizard is worth $30. Okay, so let's do a bit of math on what is happening. Does the math work out for supply and demand? And I'm going to tell you quickly, it does not, okay? So ETB is now selling for $150 on the secondary market, right? $150. The Charizard promo you can buy on the secondary market for $30. $30. So 150 minus 30 is now you have $120 worth of value left. So we have sleeves in there. What are sleeves worth? $5 maybe? Max? I wouldn't ever buy those sleeves, but let's say $5. The dice, what are they worth? $1, maybe. What are the card dividers worth? $1, maybe. So we have $7 there, okay? So we minus the $7 from 120, and then we get $113, okay? So what does that leave? 10 booster packs. 10 booster packs. That's it for $113. So you are now paying $11.30 for a freaking booster pack. That is more than Hidden Fates. Hidden Fates retails for anywhere between $8 and maybe $11. Maybe. The math does not work, guys. You might be saying, oh yes, this is correct, supply and demand, you know, there's not that much supply, the demand is high, then we have to increase the prices. Not by this much, because it doesn't work out. The contents of the ETB is not worth that, because it's just launched, it's still in stock. You know, Hidden Fates ETBs, why did they go up in price? Because they're not in stock anywhere, unless you're willing to pay $200-$300, and nobody wants to pay $200 or $300 for that. The math simply does not work out. And 150, this number here, is very, very conservative in my opinion. Okay, if we take that all the way up to, you know, $200, okay, and you're minusing 130, so it's now 117. You take away 7, that makes it 163. You're paying $16.30. Sorry for my handwriting, by the way. It's terrible right now because I'm pretty angry. $16.30 per booster pack. Is that economically right? It's not. It's not. And the problem is that people are buying this shit. And that is the problem. People are buying on the secondary market for that price. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. You either have too much money or not enough sense if you're buying an ETB for $200 or $150 or anything over $70. It's just not worth it. Go buy the promo. Go buy the promo for $30. Then go buy single booster packs. I think Danny Phantom on Instagram today announced he's going to be selling them for $6.50. What would you rather do? Pay $6.50 or $11.30 or $16.30? It's simple math and nobody is using their freaking brain. Nobody. It does not make economic, financial sense at all. It doesn't work with algebra. It doesn't work with the numbers. It doesn't work at all. This set was released 5 days ago. It does not go from $50 all the way up to $150 plus. It doesn't. In 4 days, it doesn't. And I know it's a special set. I know that. I know it has Charizards in it. I know that. But the ETBs are the problem. Not just the pin collections. Pin collections I was able to find. People only care about the ETBs. And if you're dumb enough to get the ETB at that price instead of going out and getting it for $30 or a maximum of $40, I've never seen it above $35 or $40 ever on Facebook. If you are a seller, a reseller, you're definitely someone I really don't like, because you're ruining the community for everyone else, especially kids. And you have to have some sort of, you know, ethical and moral responsibility when reselling this kind of stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this wasn't just me screaming at my camera. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll speak to you guys very soon. Thank you.